Hey guys, what's going on? It's Matt, Trailer for 43. In the last video I did, which was just me running some trains, I had a lot of you guys compliment me on this engine house, and it seemed like you guys wanted to learn a little bit more about it, so I'll go ahead and do a kind of full video on it here and show you about it and kind of some of my ideas in building it and how it works and all that. So let's go ahead and take a look. Alright, so for starters, this is a Trusses engine house. Now you can buy this directly from Trusses, or there are certain dealers that do have it. I happen to get mine from Mario's Trains. However, he's not the only one who has these. There's other dealers around that do have this. Just Google Trusses engine house, and I'm sure you'll find dealers. You'll find the direct link to the Trusses site where you can look at this and whatever else they have for sale. So pretty cool. Now this is a kit, so yeah, it comes in pieces and you build it yourself. So it's a really easy kit to build. You know, it's not something super complicated. Everything basically kind of fits together, if you know what I mean. So it's really pretty simple. And now you can paint this any way you want. I happen to leave the exterior of it just the plain Jane colors that it comes with, and also left the ribbing the same color. That's the black trim. I left that the color it came in. However, the roof and the interior, I did paint that, and we'll take a look at that now. Alright, so here's the roof, and I'll take it off here. So, here's the roof. And all the window inserts that you'll see, including these top ones, they all come black. I happen to paint these ones gray just to match the top here. And so it looks really pretty cool. Now the bottom of this I did paint white, as you can see right here, just for something a little bit different. I was originally going to paint the entire thing white. However, in doing it, it was kind of sloppy. As you can see, the paint is kind of like, you know, in here. It's not really the greatest paint job in the world. It's probably because I used brush paint and not like a spray gun or anything like that. But so that's why I happened to go with the gray for the inside, but it looks pretty cool. So while I got the roof off, I'm gonna set it aside, and we can go ahead and take a look at the interior now. Alright, so I've removed the engines from the house so that way we can look at the interior real quick. So like I said, the interior is kind of like a wood color. It's basically the top of these lighting sections here. It's that kind of color when you get it out of the package, and like I said, I happen to paint it. Now originally, and the main reason why I painted the top of the roof white was because I originally was going to model this as the Smith shops at Juniata for Norfolk Southern. However, I ended up not doing that because, you know, the white, it looks sloppy and didn't really look all that good. So I went ahead and just painted the whole thing gray, and like I said, I'm very happy with it, and it looks really pretty cool. So if I zoom in on here, start off with looking at the trusses that hold the lights in place. So I painted the top of these yellow, like a safety yellow, and then I painted the bottom of it black, and I'm really happy with how that turned out. It looks really pretty cool, and I did all of them this way, and I think it looks pretty cool. It gives something a little bit different to look at besides all the gray on there, so it's pretty cool. And speaking of gray, I did paint when I was getting ready to kind of quote-unquote permanently install this thing. I painted the underside where the track is gray, so that way if there's bare spots in there, you really won't notice it. It'll all just be gray. So that's just how I did that. So the inside of this thing, if I kind of tilt it a little bit, let me see here. Here we are. You can see the walkways there, and they come in the beige color, so I painted those gray as well. And they have in here scored like walkway sections, so it looks pretty cool. I thought about maybe in here, right here, on the ends of it, right there, painting the yellow safety stripes on there. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that or not. I might not. I don't know. But nevertheless, it's really pretty cool, and I'm very happy with it. Now, as far as the interior, I'll put you know, railroad style interior. So I'll put figures, I'll do, electric stuff. I'll probably get the Atlas little toolboxes and just some various other, shop detail kind of things in here. So it's going to be really cool once the interior is all done, and it's going to look really good once it's all finished. While we're in here, I'll talk about the lighting. So the lighting in this section here is LEDs. The entire thing is LED, but with the LEDs on the inside here, I actually used my own. And I used my own because the lights that you get with the kit are ever so slightly too short, and they don't give you entire lighting. So, like, it'll end, like, on this side, it'll end, like, right after this truss, then on the other side as well. So I used my own LEDs, and I got another strip of 3 here and another strip of 3 here. So it's 6 more LEDs, and I believe there's like 46 LEDs lighting this interior. So it's very bright, and it looks really cool, especially at night. So if I turn the light off, that's what it looks like, and it's really pretty cool. Alright, so forgive my tripod light that's in the way here, but this is the interior for the door mechanism. And the way this works is there's 2 little motors, one here, and there's one over here. And these really basically are the same as the smoke unit fan motors that are in the MTH and Lionel trains. A similar deal here. So I did a lot of work on this section, mainly because the lighting, the wires for the lighting was really, really long. It was a rat's nest of wires in here. So I went ahead and cleaned it all up. I used zip ties, and then I soldered and shrink tubed my own plugs onto these lights, because the way it was before, they were all kind of hardwired to each other, and it was really annoying when you had to take this thing apart to, because you can remove this section. It's not permanently in place, so you can go ahead and remove that to work on it, or work on this section under here for detail or whatever. So I made my own plugs, and these are from Amazon, so you can just unplug the section you want, plug it back in, and then it's good to go. So what I'll do probably for the top where you see this, I'll probably put black under that section so that we don't see the wires and stuff, but it's a lot neater than it was before. And then this ribbon cable right here, this is the cable that goes to the control box, well, from the control box to here. And I drilled a hole in this. Not sure how well you guys can see, but there's a hole in here that I drilled. And I drilled that to get this plug through. So the plug is quite large on this thing. There's a plug. And like I said, that goes to the control box. It runs the lighting, and it also runs the door mechanism. Here we go. And so it's quite a hefty cable here. It's a very long cable at that. It's got to be probably 10, 12 feet of cable. So there's plenty of wire here. So you can really put the box wherever you want, on your control panel or near the house or wherever you want, really. So, but it's really very nice, and I'm happy with how it's turning out here. And like I said, I'm happy with this. So it's really pretty cool. Alright, so here's a side view of the thing, and you can see it looks really pretty cool. Now, this side I haven't done the windows yet. I'll go on the other side in just a second, and we can take a look at the windows. But yeah, here's a look at the interior. So if I zoom in, there you go. You can see the service bays there. It's really pretty nice looking. Now for the lighting that you see on the outside, it's a PCB worth of LEDs. There's 4 LEDs per side, and then there's 2 on the front. However, the 2 on the front, I actually removed them, and you'll be able to see why in a second. But I'm really happy with the lighting on this thing. It's really, really bright and very nice. I could not have picked a worse spot for this sand tower. But anyways, here's the other side of the building with the windows. I have them on the bottom And I also have them right here on this upper section just to try it. And overall, I'm very happy with the way the windows are turning out. Now, when you get the kit, the window inserts are pieces of plastic, kind of thicker plastic, and it's individual, which is kind of annoying. So, what I ended up doing was I cut them all and I started to put them in one by one, and it was, to say it was a royal pain is kind of putting it nicely. It was not easy at all. So what I ended up doing was I abandoned that idea and I went out to Amazon and I got clear plastic. It was a .007 inch thick clear plastic, and that's what the windows over here are mounted on. And it was a lot easier. You would just glue the plastic to the side of the house, and you attach the windows to that, and it made life a lot easier. So it's really pretty cool, and I'm very happy with it. For the top here, I'll do the same thing, and then for these, I'm not sure. I might just do a clear piece for each window. I might do two at a time. I gotta figure it out yet, but definitely, I would say roll your own plastic is probably the easiest way to go about it. But it's your kit. Do what you want with it. But if you're asking for my recommendation, that's what I would do. So really cool. Alright, so zoomed in a bit, here's a better look at the windows, and you can also see the service bays in there. And like I said, it's really very nice, and I'm very happy with the way it looks. So now we'll take a look at the front of the building. Alright, so here's a look at the front of the building. Now, the front, I did do the window inserts on the front already, and it was just kind of a test. And it worked out okay. I did use the plastic that came with the kit, and after that it was kind of like, I'll just roll my own. After that, it was a little tricky. So, the front of the building also has lighting in it. Now, I took the front lights out, and the main reason why I took the front lights out was because I accidentally broke one of the light housings. You can see I have a light housing right here, and there's none here. I broke one of them. I screwed it up when I put it in the thing, and I wanted to fix it. I broke it taking it out, and you get a replacement, and I broke the replacement too. So I'm kind of out of luck now. So I think what I'll do is I'll take this one off, and then I'll probably either leave the houses empty or maybe cover them with like a styrene cover or something like that. But what can you do? But unfortunately, that's just how it is. So next time, if I do this again, I would just have to be very careful with it. But here's a look at the interior of the thing, and with the engines not in there, you can see the service bays from this angle, and it looks really, really cool. And like I said, it just looks really realistic. So what I'll do real quickly is I'll demo the doors real quick, and then I'll show you the control box. Okay, so here's the control box for the doors. Now, included in the kit, you get the screws that you see there, and they're attached with little nuts. And you can attach those to a board, which I'll eventually do when I build one. But you can see we have the two switches for the doors. Obviously, when you pull it up and down, the doors will go up and down. Same with the other one. So it's pretty cool. Now, the way these doors work is they have limit switches for up and down. So when you go up, the switch on the top will shut the door going up, and then for going down, it has an adjustment for the going down part. So there's a nut that you turn, and there's a track, so you adjust the nut backwards or forwards to adjust the height of the door and how far it goes down. And it was baffling me for a little bit. I was loosening the nut and turning it again, and it wasn't doing anything. Well, unbeknownst to me, I happened to look, and oh yeah, there's a track there. So you pull it one way or the other, and that adjusts the height for the door. So it was hitting my track. I couldn't figure out what was wrong with it, and then I looked again, and oh yeah, I had to fix the nut. So it's pretty cool, and it's really nice. Now, the way this works is on the right side, this is the ribbon cable that goes to the door mechanism, which powers everything. And then on the left side, you can see those red and black wires with the little plug on the end there. And that plug goes to a 12 volt DC power supply. Now, in the instructions, it says to use a 12 volt DC, not AC power supply. And obviously that's for the doors, because what's in there, first thing it goes through is a DC to DC converter to transfer the power from 12 volts to probably 4.5 or 5 volts for the motors to run the doors. So if you use AC, I'd imagine you'd fry it, and that would ruin your fun. So what you could do, and I haven't tried this, and I don't know if I will, but what you could do is you could buy a converter that goes from AC to DC, and you could put, let's say, 14 volts AC through it, and then you can adjust the voltage down to 12 volts DC, and it should do the same thing. And for the power supply, now I happen to have an outlet nearby. Directly off camera to the left is my control panel, and I have a power strip under there. So I just hooked up the power supply to an open port on the power strip. But if I didn't have that nearby, I would probably consider giving it a try and seeing what happens. I'd imagine it would work. Wouldn't see why it wouldn't, because it would just convert from AC to DC. So I guess that's an option, but don't take my word for that. It's a proceed at your own risk sort of deal. But yeah, very cool the way this is working. Alright, so for my final thoughts on this thing, it's very, very cool, and it was a very easy build. You follow the instructions, and that's basically it. When I got this kit, I originally was going to do a how-to video on it. I started doing it, and after about 20 minutes of doing it, I realized I was basically just reading the instructions to the camera, and it didn't really make any sense. So I abandoned the idea and figured I would just do kind of an in-progress video. Now, the instructions for this thing are very well written and very easy to follow. Basically, just follow their pictorial diagrams that are in the instructions, and it'll show you how each piece goes together and how everything works. So if you're interested in kind of looking at a fully finished model and a little bit along the way as well, there's a guy on YouTube, Firehawk1218, his name is Darren, and he did a 2-part video on this specific engine house, and he showed kind of how he painted his and made it a little bit better than I did. I just kind of left mine basically plain for the most part, except for the interior really, but he did the outside and did a nicer job than I did. But nevertheless, it's really cool, and I'm very happy with this. Once I do the windows and do some exterior and interior detail, it's going to be really pretty cool and a lot of fun. So what I'll do is I'll demo the engine house a little bit, and that'll do it. So you guys take good care, and we'll see you around.
Work's done. We're going to beam. Out.